Do you take medications for ADD and you just don't quite feel right? Well, stay tuned. There's hope.
Hi, this is G.H. Glade for Coaching ADD. We can ask ourselves the question, why do some people not respond well to stimulant? Well, we know out of the gate that there are 13% of people that simply don't respond to psychostimulants. They don't tolerate them, they don't feel good on them, and they don't get focused. If we come from an evidence-based perspective, we realize that there's something called preferential response. What we know, if you have a first-degree biological relative, mother, brother, sister, father, that you will respond 90% the same way as your relative. This includes both response and toleration. So that's important information for your provider to ask about. And when you have that information, heavens, it's like shooting fish in a barrel in terms of your out-of-the-gate choice for medication. The second thing is that we know that there's a differential response to one type of stimulant, the methamphetamine salts, versus the other type of stimulant, the methylphenidate. Having no information at all, using an evidence-based approach, we know that the odds are stacked that the first drug a clinician should try should be a methamphetamine salt. Best known in this category is Adderall. Failing that, you should move to a methylphenidate or a Ritalin preparation. The history behind this is interesting. Up until really kind of the late 90s, pretty much everything that was prescribed was Ritalin, and it was wrong. And what happened is people prescribed it to kids, and you got the typical side effect profile that lets you know it's just not the right medication. Medications have what's called a duration of response. Very simply put, how long should the medication last? How long should I get a focus effect? And what you find with poor toleration is that you find sleep disturbance beyond the time that the medication is supposed to last. The other aspect of poor response is appetite suppression. If you're on the right medication while you're starting out on a titration, you should have at best mild, underscore mild appetite suppression, and it should drop out pretty quickly. So what you had were all these little kids who couldn't articulate that they felt bad. They weren't eating, they were losing weight. The other thing that can happen with the wrong type, and this is either the MAS or the MPH type stimulants, is you can get emotional constriction. And the sort of tongue-in-cheek way of describing this is, yeah, put your kid on Ritalin and turn him to a little zombie. He'll be able to focus, but you'll suck his personality right out from him. Kids couldn't articulate this. Many clinicians were not adept at fleshing this out and finding out how does the person actually feel, much less sometimes not even asking the question. When I have somebody that I have no family history, hands down, I use an evidence-based approach. I will start with a methamphetamine salt, and I will list off things that indicate that, yeah, this is the wrong one. Sleep disturbance, appetite suppression, emotional constriction, and sometimes people just feel overstimulated at a relatively low dose. And these are important considerations. If you have a provider that is just picking a dose out of the air or starting you using a non-evidence-based approach, I find the best way to intercede on this is information. You might refer him or her to this podcast. You know, I believe in following an evidence-based approach, and the evidence has been out there for years and years. There's one study that happened, it's like 16, 17 years old, but I still use it in my teaching book, and it graphs preferential response. And clearly it shows with no information, use an MAS. You're going to see a little subscribe button. If this video has been useful for you in terms of clarifying where stimulants might have gone wrong for you, then go ahead and hit a click. The other belief that I strongly hold is that medications, while being a really good tool for people, they aren't the whole answer either. And I'll go into things like coaching, which this channel is about, meditations, how to eat, serve your brain the best way possible, and targeted use of exercise. Until next time, this is G.H. Glade for Coaching ADD. Feel free to give me a like, and please hit subscribe, and most of all, share the video